Hey guys, welcome to another live podcast. I think today is Tuesday, right? Yeah, today is Tuesday, August 1st, and thank you guys for joining in with me here. I had to fire this thing up. I really miss doing a live podcast for you guys. I only took a week off, and man, so many things happen in the industry. It's amazing how many devices can release when you just take 1 week off, or how many devices can get upgrades or changes or limited editions. All kind of things can happen in 7 days, pretty much. And it's good to be back on board. I did a few. I put out a few videos, and I'm pretty excited to bring you more. And we're going to talk about some things that you guys already know about. It's no secret that OEMs release the same device over and over and over again, and we keep buying it for some reason. We're hooked. They've got us so connected to this technology thing that we can't shake it, and it just becomes addictive. Nonetheless, we are going to talk about it today in this live podcast, and it's labeled very simply duplicate devices from OEMs. So if you are on Twitter and you've gotten this link, go ahead and retweet it. Social media, send it out to your social media so we can all have a great conversation today. This is Jay Williams from Smartphone Conversations for Tuesday's live podcast. I'm excited. You're excited. I'm excited. We're all excited. But we're not that excited to where we're going to keep accepting that OEMs are releasing the same device in different shells or different colors. What can we actually do about it, though? There's really not a lot that we could actually do. We have to just accept what they give us, and that's unfortunate because they'll bring out something and say it's a limited color right after we just spent a ton of money on one color. And it basically pretty much every OEM has done this, or they're going to do it. It's going to happen at some point or another. They'll bring out the basic colors, and I'm just starting with colors. This is a pretty simple thing to start with. Colors. They'll bring out different colors in the same device, and they'll call it a limited edition, or this is the limited color. It's very frustrating to have to deal with that. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with them bringing out new colors. But when they do that, some customers get a little frustrated with these OEMs for bringing out certain colors and instead of just bringing them all out. It's not like they're going to make any more money off of a color. And I don't like when companies release phones and they have a higher price tag on a different color. That makes no sense at all. Makes no sense. So I think when it comes to duplicate things on phones, color is the easiest one that an OEM can do, because they can just release the same device and bring out another color and say it's the black edition, or it's the gold edition, or it's the red edition, or it's the green edition. And I don't understand why some OEMs say that, that color takes more to produce. It's just a color. Now, do they mean it can stick to the metal better? I don't know. The primer's different. Who knows? One thing is for sure, though, is that it's frustrating to the customer. So color is just one thing. Now, when you really get into the meat of it, a company releases a phone, right? And they release another version of it. You know where I'm going. They release another version of it, and it has a small software update or a small hardware update, and it's a better purchase. Now, there's one company that comes to mind. I know you guys know the company. It's no secret. The company is OnePlus. And there's other companies that do this. This is just the company that came to mind as I'm thinking about this. OnePlus released the OnePlus 3. It's just an example. I'm not picking on OnePlus. I have a OnePlus 5. Love the phone. Just gave my full review on it. Fantastic phone. But facts are facts. OnePlus released the OnePlus 3. And then about 3 months later, they released the OnePlus 3T. Some people say, "Oh no one's mad. No one's mad." I think so. I think tons of people were upset about that. They released a phone, and they released a better version of the phone at the same price, pretty much, and it cost the same, and you got a serious spec bump. It was good enough to where I think a lot of customers got upset about it. Now, they're not the only ones that have done this. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're the only ones that do this, and they're the only ones that will do. No, Apple is another one. Apple will release the Apple iPhone 1, then they'll come with the Apple iPhone 1S. It just doesn't make any sense. That to me I think OnePlus probably had it the worst, because they're not a really big company yet. They're big enough though. They're moving some units, so they're big enough. They're just not big as some other companies. However, they're big enough. But I think they made a lot of people mad. They have a large following, and they released the OnePlus 3T right after the OnePlus 3. But what made it worse is that they discontinued the OnePlus 3 so quickly. So now, if you want a OnePlus 3, and recently now, if you want a OnePlus 3T, you got to search for them elsewhere. You can't get them from OnePlus, and that's pretty interesting. That they release the phones and then they discontinue them so fast. Why, OnePlus? Why? At least with Apple, they keep the phones in rotation. They're still selling them. But OnePlus discontinues the devices right after they bring out another one. And people make excuses saying, "Oh, they're not big enough. They're not big enough." Hey, if you want to put on your big boy pants, you can't just pull them up to your waist and then drop them. You got to put them all the way up, buckle the belt, and keep running. If they're going to be in the smartphone game, they got to keep it moving. They don't get any passes because they're a newer company. Nah. They got to bring the devices out, and they have to keep them on the market to support them. Another company that I think is probably going to do that to us is Google. Now, Google, I don't think they've technically done that yet. All their upgrades have been different hardware and different software, and they gave a nice little bump. So was it worth the money? I don't know. That's up to you. But the Nexus devices have all changed. But I think you can only do so much with a smartphone. And I think companies, they know this, So they're trying to find ways to get us to stay interested. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Shout out to Chris for joining the live podcast on Tuesday. Once again, if you are listening and you're not chatting, that happens all the time. Some people just like to listen, or you're really busy and you just like to listen. This is Tuesday's podcast. We're talking about duplicates from OEMs, and this is a pretty simple one. But, if a company is trying to keep a customer interested, that could be kind of difficult. So, they give these small upgrades, and it's like I want to say the customers lose. The customers lose. We lose when the companies keep bringing out the same phone and giving a small upgrade and saying it's the new model for the year. That's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. But there are a lot of customers out there who are willing to do it. They're willing to pay for it. There's customers out there, Apple people, they upgrade every year. Every year, not all. There's people out there that still have a 5 or 4S. Not all Apple people update every year, but there are plenty of people out there who do upgrade, and that's unfortunate that they do. I'm gonna see if I can take care of this real quick. I got a small intermission I'm going to do here. Hey, I'm going to start doing intermissions with my podcast. I'm going to start doing some intermissions. Hey, this is Jay Will. We're going to take an intermission for... No, like in my radio show. Our radio show. The radio show's on. Jay Will is on the radio. No, this is just like a radio show, right? I think it is. I think it's a lot of fun. That's why I like podcasts, because you can kick back, relax. I can play music if I want to. I can pretty much do what I want to do. But duplicates. They are not going anywhere. And I call them duplicates because how much can an OEM really do? How much can they change? How much can they actually change a device? Now, unless they're doing something really drastic. Another company I want to talk about that does duplicates. I've talked about OnePlus. I've talked about Apple. Not so much on Apple, but Apple, Apple is, they've got the cut. Okay, now I'm not saying this isn't going to be a bash fest against Apple. Apple products are actually really good. I own several. I have several Apple products because I like them, and they perform better than other products in certain areas, and that's just what it is. That's just what it is. But Apple products, they definitely do small upgrades. And here's one that they did to computer owners. I bought the new MacBook 2016, right? I bought that new one, the MacBook Pro. I bought the 13-inch non-touch bar. I bought that. What does Apple do the next season around? They change everything to the Kaby Lake processors and then charge the same price. That's pretty tacky, Apple. Good thing for me is I waited to get my 5K Mac, so I ended up getting a 5K Mac, and I'm actually getting ready to buy another MacBook Pro. I'm going to go ahead and go with a 12-inch MacBook because I have a 2015 MacBook Pro, but I got rid of my 2016 MacBook Pro. I want to get the 12-inch MacBook Pro because the iPads are nice, but I just use it for gaming. I don't do much on an iPad, but that's what Apple did to us. They brought out Kaby Lake processors the next season around. That's another example of these small upgrades giving us things when they want to give it to us, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. Absolutely nothing. We can't do a thing about it, and that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate because Apple's products are really good. They're really good products. But they are a company who's known for doing these small upgrades, and then what they'll do is do it all over again. People keep buying it. I'm one of them. I keep buying. We all keep buying. So what do? You want to support the OEMs that you enjoy, but you don't want to feel like you're getting played. Let me see here. Oh, lots of people in here. Hey, okay, I got some new messages coming in. Shout out to everybody who's in the live chat from the live podcast. This is live. It is Tuesday, August 1st. This is Tuesday's podcast. It's your man, Jay Will. It is almost 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hello, everybody that's in the live chat right now. I'm going to read off some of these comments from these guys. Hey, Brad. Brad says, when we do buy those weak upgrades, it's almost like we're telling the big companies that it's okay. Absolutely right. Brad is right on point. That's exactly what we're doing. We're telling these OEMs, hey, it's okay. You can keep screwing me over. That's exactly what's going on. That's exactly what is happening. And, the market, the industry right now, it seems big because there's a lot of different OEMs out there making products, but we're not buying 99% of the products out there that we probably should buy. We're buying products that we actually probably don't even need. That's why I continue to buy phones like the Moto G5 Plus, and I plan on getting the Moto G5S Plus because that's a 5.5 inch display. It's not coming to the US yet, but I do plan on getting that. But Brad is right. We're actually telling these OEMs, hey, it's okay to screw me over. Go ahead, do what you want to do. I'm not gonna do. I'm just gonna take it. I'm just gonna bend over and take it. I'll keep spending all my money on it, and that's it. Because when you think about it, even with the 2017 5K Mac that I bought, right? This device hasn't been refreshed One of and Tech Files dose of common sense. His comment, I'm going to get to this comment because his comment, I'll say his comment, but I want to talk about the 5K Mac first. His comment says one of the biggest offenders is Samsung, and he's absolutely right. Samsung, a lot of OEMs are guilty of this. They're guilty of this. And there's nothing. If we keep buying, like Brad said, and I say we because I'm buying too, they're going to keep on doing it. It's just like telling them, hey, it's okay. Just keep on screwing me over. Keep taking my money. But Brad is absolutely right. Samsung is another offender who does this a lot. But Apple is right in line with them. And Sony, too. I'm going to move on to Sony. But Apple, with the 5K Mac, they haven't upgraded the 5K Mac in how many years? Since 2015. It's been a long time since they upgraded the 5K Mac. And then when they did do it, it cost the same price, but it's a huge spec bump compared to what they did in 2015. Now, the problem with that is they were still selling the 2015, and they're still selling the 2015. And all these companies out here who sold all those 2015s to someone. And the reason I'm talking about the 5K Mac is because there were a few rumors, but nobody really was sure if they were going to refresh the 5K Mac. So they brung it out at $17.99 to start, which is what the other one was still selling at. And so now it forces companies to drastically reduce the price of their 5K Macs that they have in their stores to try to get rid of them, because I'm pretty sure that there were some people out there who bought the 2015 Mac, 5K iMac. The 2017 got announced the next day or within the 14-day return period, and they said, whoa, I'm taking this back and I'm getting the... I mean, the 2015 5K iMac is highly outdated. It doesn't even have the upgraded ports. I have 4 USB Type-C ports on the back of this thing, I believe, or something like that. The 2015 or just any 5K iMac other than this one is a horrible deal to me, because you're paying, especially the 2015 one, depending on if you can get a deal on it and you don't need the upgraded ports, then okay, it's not a horrible deal. So I stand corrected on that. However, you're telling me, would you, he says take over, here comes Apple again. Would you, in fact, if you were in your return period for 14 days, whatever, I don't know what the return period, I do very small little returns, but measure 10 times and cut once. Trust me, it's worth it. I waited years to get a 5K iMac, and I'm glad I did. There's not going to be any refresh to this one for a long time. However, if you were in your return period for a device, it doesn't have to be the 5K Mac. If you were in your return period and you didn't know a new one was coming out and you bought it, wouldn't you just take it back and say, no, I want to exchange it for this newer model. It's the same cost or less or $20 more. Customers did that, I'm sure, with their 2016 MacBook Pros, because I bought the 2016 MacBook, the latest MacBook Pro, I bought it. And then they announced a newer version with Kaby Lake processors in it. Same body and everything, just gave it a nice upgrade internally. I'm sure that if I was in my return period when I first had that one, because I bought it, I had mine for a while. But if I were in my return period, I definitely would have returned it. I would have exchanged it and say, hey, good, let's do it. Let's do this return. So, I think a lot of customers probably did that with those devices, with the Mac. I even heard rumors of there being a new 5K iMac, but I didn't follow it because I didn't believe it. I was like, yeah, right. I'll never get my 5K Mac. I didn't want the current version. But, nonetheless, this isn't something that, we knew Apple, we know that they do things like this. So, it's just what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. But I'm not going to pick on Apple because I love Apple products, and that's just the truth. But that doesn't mean that they're right in what they're doing. So, it's kind of tacky when companies do that. Now, talked about OnePlus, talked about Apple, Samsung. I want to get on to Samsung, but first, Sony. Sony has the nerve to tell us, I'm going to release a phone every 6 months, and that's what I'm going to do to you. How is that encouraging to a customer To me, it makes me not want to buy a Sony phone if you're going to release them every 6 months. Now, they stopped doing this, to my understanding, I believe. They haven't done that in a while. I don't track Sony products like that, so I don't know exactly, if they're releasing a phone every 6 months. I don't know. Fact is, it was kind of a bold move, and I don't think it was the best move. Releasing the phone every 6 months, that's not a good idea. Customers can't get, they can't get the feel for, you almost feel like you're getting ripped off. I would feel like I'm getting ripped off if I bought something and then they're going to release another version of it within 6 months. Come on, Sony. Come on, Sony. Come on. When I first heard that they were doing that, I was like, that's a horrible idea. Horrible. Just a bad idea. And, I got a lot of phones vibrating and stuff. Companies who try that don't get very far. They don't get very far. Let me see here. Hobbies and specs when it comes to the United States. Yeah, you know what? Hobby is the specs. Hobbies. I think that's what he's trying to say. Hobbles the specs when it comes to the United. I'll retype that. I don't think I understand that comment. But Sony, I don't think they did very well by releasing so many phones back to back like that. And I think they eventually stopped. In my understanding, I don't follow Sony phones like that. Currently, the only phone I have from Sony is my beast of a phone sitting on 7.0 or 7.1, I believe it's on, something like that. Beast mode, the Xperia XA Ultra. I don't even have a need to buy the new one. I probably will buy the new one once the price comes down, but $400, are they crazy? And then they're releasing the new version of this phone. All they did was give it a mild spec bump, and then they want $400. Are they crazy? One can tell me all day, oh, Jay, that's worth it. Nah, not to me. $400 for that phone? No way. Not gonna happen. $400 is a lot. Jeffrey Jazzy Jeff Jones, how you doing? Disable the fingerprint sensor. Oh yeah, Sony. Yeah, Sony. That's another thing. Sony released the to everybody. And real quick, everyone, several people. I'm not saying people in this live podcast, but just any listener. Several people are asking me when I'm going to get the Sony Xperia XA Ultra. Or excuse me, the XA Premium, the X Premium, or something like that. Whatever the latest one is with the 4K display. I'm going to get it. I plan on getting it. But Sony did the ultimate no-no, and they're forcing me to buy the international version. Because they brought it to the U.S. and disabled the fingerprint reader, but that's because of a licensing agreement or something like that. I think they were kind of forced to do that if they wanted to sell the phone in the U.S. I think that's what it was. But I don't know, folks. I am kind of on the fence about how I feel about Sony products. I'm almost afraid to buy the premium, the US model, and then they turn around and release it with a fingerprint reader. Oh boy, would I be upset. I'd be pretty perturbed. I'd be upset. I really would. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to look through some of these comments here. 1 second, folks. I'm gonna try to play some music and stuff. Play music while I'm doing with the podcast. It's not too loud. Music. Can you guys hear the music? Yeah. So, I don't want to beat up these OEMs, but it's the truth. If I'm spending my money, I do not want to pay for duplicate. Listen, Okay, now I don't want to back. I'm not going to go back to Apple yet. But Sony, yeah. Yeah, I turned down the music. I just want to play some soft little music in the background every now and then. But Sony, man, they have the nerve to release this phone with no fingerprint reader. They were kind of forced to disable that. Forced to disable it in the US, and that's unfortunate. But, don't want to beat that horse up. Listen, Samsung. Samsung. Oh, man. A dose of common sense. Yes, you're right. Samsung is notorious for releasing the same device. Here's where I think Samsung... Okay, I always get beat up by these so-called Samsung fans, man. All these so-called Samsung fans... I know real Samsung fans, and I know fake ones. All the fake ones try to badmouth me for telling the truth about Samsung, but I think it's just a personal vendetta that some of them have against me. It doesn't even matter what I'm talking about, because I know a real Samsung fan when I see one, and they're completely honest about their devices, They're not saying that the S8 is the best, or, I personally feel like the S7 is a better feeling device, a smoother device. I think it's a better phone between the S8 and the S7. I would take the S7 or the S7 Edge over the S8 or the S8 Plus. That's just me. Because really, you're getting the hardware is the only thing they kind of changed. After that, okay, so is it TouchWiz? Touch UWiz UI, I don't know, Grace UI. I don't care what they name it. Duplicate. It's a duplicate. I don't care how mad people get at me, those fake Samsung fans. I don't care how mad you guys get for me telling the truth about Samsung. Some of those guys don't even have any stock in Samsung. They don't even know. Samsung doesn't even know who they are. Samsung just wants their money like they want my money. It's about money with Samsung and Apple and some of these companies who are getting paid like that off of the customer. But listen, Samsung with this duplicate software. And hardware, at least they're changing the hardware a little bit, but let's go back to what I said initially. It's a small upgrade. Very small upgrade. Not big enough to warrant those price tags. Now, I do buy all of the products. But why do I buy it? I buy it because I'm doing reviews. That's the only reason. If I wasn't doing reviews, I wouldn't be buying all these phones. That is just one phone, that's it. That's what the average consumer does. Even though I do reviews, and some people get highly offended when you talk about Samsung. I can only just laugh because I think it's hilarious. Why would you stand behind this brand and they don't even know who you are? Why would you back them up like this? They don't even care about you like that. You don't get any special perks. You get a discount on a phone. Oh, whoop-de-doo. You get a discount on a Samsung product. Whoop-de-doo. I get discounts on Samsung products. It's just that simple. That's nothing. Those companies don't care about the consumers like that. The hype train is powerful and they know it. You're absolutely right, Brad. The hype train is powerful. But my problem with, and not all Samsung fans, that's why I separate the two. There's a lot of fake Samsung fans out there, and all they do is talk. They brag about how great Samsung is, but do not want to face reality that Samsung products are not the best. And I love the S8. I think the S8 is the better purchase over the S8 Plus. In the final thoughts of those devices, the S8 Plus is a great phone, but, the S8 is the better of the two in my personal opinion. But of all of those, I think the S7, because that's the one that I still have, the S7 is a boss. So, question from Chris: If you didn't do reviews, what would you be doing? If you didn't do reviews, what would be the Jay Williams only phone? Oh wow, that's an easy one. Okay, so I knew my needs prior to doing reviews. I always carried a BlackBerry because I had a lot of emails. So I probably would either still be using a BlackBerry, or I would probably have something like the BlackBerry Key 1. Only because I was hooked on the keyboard. And when I switched from a keyboard, I could possibly be using an iPhone or something like that, because everybody in my family has an iPhone, pretty much, in my immediate family. So they're on iMessenger and FaceTime. And let me tell you, Google services are not touching FaceTime. Samsung has their own video software built into their phones. The video dialer and everything. It looks fantastic. But it gets no love because it's inconsistent. It's not across all devices. And Google's attempts at it are weak. Mediocre at best. Hangouts will never touch FaceTime. Hangouts will never touch iMessenger. It's just not aloe vera, whatever it's called. It is never going to touch FaceTime and iMessenger. Just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It can't happen. It's just not going to happen. So, I mean, I would probably be using some kind of BlackBerry or I would be using an iPhone probably for family purposes, because when I wasn't retired in the corporate world, they went from BlackBerry to iPhones at that time, and I left right after that started to happen. So eventually I probably was going to have a BlackBerry or an iPhone. That would have been just the one device that I had. But I'm Samsung. They do a lot of Duo. That's what it's called, Allo and Duo or something like that. Thanks, Brad. Samsung, they duplicate their devices. They bring out small upgrades. They even do it on their watches. Even Apple did that with the Apple Watch. There's no need to upgrade to the new Apple Watch because they're saying, oh, it's waterproofing now. Or something they said, it's better battery life. The battery life was a little bit better, but that's a small upgrade. I feel like I wasted money doing that, And you haven't seen any more videos on my Apple Watch. Kind of sad. It's like throwing money out the window. And that's exactly what it is. And going back to what someone said earlier, I'm basically just signing off saying, oh, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just let you take my money. So I got to take a quick break. I'm going to play some music. I'll be right back, guys. Just got to go grab some packages off the front porch. Hopefully you can hear a little bit of that music. All right. I'm back. If you're just joining in or you've been listening along, this is Tuesday's podcast. And we are talking about OEMs trying to get away with robbing us with these duplicate devices or duplicate software. Is the new phone going to have the fingerprint on the side? Let me give you a spoiler. All right. So I posted a picture on Twitter and I posted it on Instagram. I took it off of Twitter because there's a lot more clowns on Twitter that always think, they think, oh, that's just a fake picture from the internet. And I basically posted on my Instagram, here's the final design from the iPhone. This is what it's going to be. Now, I don't post things just to post them. Here's what happened. Spoiler, insider that you got from your man Jay Will about Jay Will's channel. I can't say the company, but a company reached out to me and said, hey, Jay, we got our dummy units in for the iPhone 7 and iPhone 8 and iPhone 8 Plus or whatever it's going to be called. Do you want them? I said, sure, I'll take them. And they said, we're also going to give you some cases for the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 7. I said, sweet, I'll take it. So they emailed me a real picture of the dummy units, and I'll have a video up on the channel. They've shipped off to me. I've got the tracking information. But as you can see, I get so many packages. I picked up like 6 packages today. I don't know how many. Amazon Prime just dropped those on my front door. But the products are coming. I'll show you on video the actual design of the iPhone 8. At least it's from my channel. You can probably see stuff all over the internet, but the fingerprint reader, as far as it being in the home button on the side, the power button on the side, I can't tell you that yet. I can't speak on that yet. I don't want to. I don't want to know too much. I do know I have a lot of good reliable sources, and I don't do very many leaks. I try to avoid that. Like right now, I have phones that I could possibly leak out, like phones that are coming out, but I don't do that. I'm not really into the leak game. I prefer to just wait and, get the retail unit and talk about it later. But as far as the iPhone 8 the home button, the exclusion of the Touch ID, I think that's real. And, there could possibly be a iris scanner, obviously. I think you guys know about that. There could be an iris scanner. There also could be a fingerprint reader Touch ID in the home button. And some people think that the home button is bigger, so that's why they're doing the that's where they're putting the fingerprint reader now. I'm not at liberty to tell you exactly. I can't say, oh yeah, let me share this news. But what I can tell you is what I just told you. Not big on repeating myself, so I hope you heard it the first time. Now, Tuesday's podcast, duplicates from OEMs. I'm pretty sure we can think of a lot of OEMs that do duplicates, but I think Samsung is one that, like someone spoke about earlier, is a huge one for doing duplicates, and Apple is another one. Sony, all of their devices look alike. Now, you know who else is starting to do the duplicate game? I didn't speak of them yet, but someone else, I talked about OnePlus, with their incremental upgrades and charging the same price and giving a better device, screwing over the other customer. Another company that is starting to do this is Motorola. And I love Motorola. I got love for Motorola. Appreciate Motorola. I buy probably all of their products. But Motorola is starting to do this. Because we have their completely new Moto line. All looks the same pretty much. The Z line looks the same. The G line looks the same. The E line is a little different because some have fingerprint readers, some don't. But the overall package is the same. Now, Motorola, on the other hand, as I take a quick sip, I just came from the gym. So I just ate some fresh fruit and I'm trying to hydrate again, fluids. So Motorola, I think they can get away with this more than some other OEMs, and here's why. This is very important. Listen up. Motorola, in my personal opinion, can get away with this is because they're releasing quality products at a very low price. They're not asking for thousands of dollars for their products. They're keeping it real simple. They're keeping it gangster, I guess some people might say. They're not asking for a lot for those devices. And they're quality products. Fantastic. What more would you want, I'm going to release a product and I'm going to do different versions of it for different markets. So I'm going to have a 5-inch version, but it's the same phone. I'm going to have a 5.5-inch version, but it's the same phone. You get where I'm going. Motorola can do that because they are absolutely not asking for a boatload of money. They're not doing it. They are not doing it. And that is a good thing. That's a good thing. Motorola has the E4, and they have different versions of this E4, which is kind of strange. They have the E4, but they have an E4 without a fingerprint reader. I don't know what that's about, but they in fact do have a version like that, and I think it's on Metro. I think it's going to be on Metro. They're gonna release and that's a T-Mobile thing, I believe. They're gonna release the Moto E4. I think it's already out. It's only $49, but it's freaking. It's got no fingerprint reader, and the Verizon version has a fingerprint reader. I don't get that. Don't get it. Never understand it. I don't know. Can LG get away with it? Well, LG can get away with it too, kind of, because again, their pricing isn't very high. If the Stylo 3 and the Stylo 2 Now, we both know that those were small upgrades, and some even consider it a downgrade, but the pricing kind of almost stay the same. But that's a quality product, and those products are really, really good. So I guess you're right. They kind of can get over it. But LG is only doing that on some of the lower end phones. On their higher end phones, they're not doing that because the G6 is a is a huge upgrade over the G5, and the G5 was an upgrade over the G4, and so on. So they're changing the design of their higher end devices, but their lower tier devices, you're right, they're kind of keeping it the same. The Stylo line is pretty much the same. The LG X line is pretty much the same if there's any kind of upgrade with those. So yeah, LG can kind of do it on their lower tier devices, well, because the pricing is good and you get a quality product. Brad says he picked up the Moto E4 just for fun. It's a nice little phone for the money. He's absolutely right. You were able to get it for $40. Which model do you have, by the way, Brad? You have Verizon or Metro, or do you have the unlocked version? There's 3 different versions. You've got Metro, you've got Verizon, you've got the unlocked version. So that's something to be considered, because I believe the unlocked version has the fingerprint reader. Yeah, it does. But the unlocked version is $130. I don't see myself doing that. No. You're getting into territories where I might as well go ahead and jump up to the G line instead of going with the E line. Huge upgrade if you go with the G line, over the E line. If you're going to spend, that kind of money, and again, they're another company that's, again, Motorola's kind of getting away with it. They can do it because their products are high quality to me. I mean, the cameras on the Moto G5 Plus are actually really, really solid. So Brad has the unlocked version, so you have the fingerprint reader. So, hey, it's a good phone, like you said. The Verizon version is the same, I believe, as the unlocked version, but it's not unlocked because it's the prepaid model, and they don't unlock their prepaid models for like a year or something like that. But right now, you can grab that phone for $69 on Verizon or $49 on Metro. And, for the life of me, I don't know why they have different models of it, like a fingerprint on one and not on the other. I have no clue. I wish I knew the answer to that. But I don't know. But see, with something like that, the Moto E4 is kind of a replacement for the Moto G Play. It's in a different family. I know it's in the G family, and that's the E family. The E family is kind of the new family, but it's competing with the G family. And the Moto G Play costs, and they have the Moto G4 Play. It costs like $85, and sometimes you can get it for $35. But the Moto E4 costs $69, and they're talking about the retail on Verizon is $199. That's just something to kind of make it seem like you're getting a deal. So I don't buy into that. But Motorola is almost competing with themselves in a lot of areas, and just HTC is another one, and LG. Believe it or not, their lower tier devices are pretty much all the same. Samsung also, somebody already spoke about this. They release a lot of phones that are small upgrades, are different bodies, but same internals pretty much. They release a lot of them. And the crazy part about Samsung is they're releasing all their fantastic phones overseas at really great costs and bringing all the high-priced phones to us. They're giving us the high-priced devices, the $1,000 for the Note 8 is coming. To me, it's going to be this example again. It's going to be basically the S8 Plus squared off with an S Pen. What more could it be? I mean, Snapdragon 835, it's definitely probably going to have at least that. And if they bring out something like the 836, if Samsung can get the 836, which I don't know that they will, it's still not going to be that much of an improvement over the 835, even though that's what they're going to tell everybody. You guys know this. You know that when they release the Note 8, they're going to say, this is the latest processor from Qualcomm and da-da-da. What Samsung should be doing is releasing their Exynos processors in all their devices. But they have a great contract with Qualcomm, and I guess they got to complete it. They got to complete it. I don't know. I think it's a horrible idea to sell the Qualcomm processors inside of the Galaxy devices. The S8 and all of those devices and the Notes, those should all have the Exynos processor. It's just unfair that the U.S. gets screwed over all the time. You know. So speaking of LG, I think whoever mentioned that, you're absolutely right, because you got the V20, the K20, the K7, the K8, the K line. You know, those are, you got the J line from Samsung, you got the G line from LG. All these phones are pretty much the same phones being released, just different bodies with a little bit of spec bump, if not no spec bump, and just, you know, freaking just a new price tag with and added a V to it, or added a 2.0 to it, or something like that. That's unfortunate. But again, Motorola, it's another one. You know, the Z line all looks the same, and they all, now some people are really upset, but the Z line, the Moto Z Play to be exact, the Moto Z2 Play got a spec down, if some people might say, because they dropped the battery. That's the most noticeable. The 3,500 milliamp hour battery that's in the Moto Z Play is a boss, but the Moto Z2 Play has a much smaller battery. Much smaller battery. Why they did that, people keep asking me. I'm like, I don't work for Motorola. I have no clue. I don't know why they did that. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But what do you do? Hey, I'm looking for Cricket. Now, Cricket Wireless, they have phones on there from, what was the company? They have a lot of ZTE phones. Now, ZTE, another great company, right? But they too release duplicate devices. This is something that, but like I said with LG and like I said with Motorola, they can get away with it because their products at those low costs are really good, and they're not as bad. It doesn't hurt the pocket. Like, so if I were to buy a Z Max Pro for $100, and then I bought an iPhone 6s for $300. Now you think about iPhone 6. Now the iPhone 6 on Cricket, now the iPhone 6, not the 7 or the 6s, the iPhone 6 is still selling for $300 on Cricket. But the Blade X Max or the Z Max Pro or whatever it is, it's only $100. I wouldn't feel so bad if I grabbed that over the iPhone 6 and I broke it. I wouldn't feel bad at all. Now, if you switch gears and balance it out a little bit better, like, so let's do ZTE Blade X Max, and then you have an LG X Charge, you know, something like that. They both cost $100. Those cost identical in price. If I were to break one of those phones, or not even break, you know, if I just were to buy one of those phones, I would be a lot happier with that phone if something did happen to it, software, just anything. If I only kept it for a year and lost it, we don't even have to do damage. If I just lost it, I left it at the bus stop, or I left it in the airport, I wouldn't feel so bad. I wouldn't feel bad at all. But if I lost my $300 iPhone, I'd be a little bit perturbed. And so you've got phones like companies like ZTE and LG releasing these phones over and over again in different bodies and different names. They can get away with it, man. And let me give you an example. I'm just going to read off some phones here from the same OEMs. Okay, so I've got the LG Fortune. I've got the LG Harmony. Now these are different phones, but they're just phones from the same company. I've got the LG X Charge. I've got the LG Stylo 3. I've got the LG X Power. LG Spree, LG Escape 3. Now, if you go with Samsung, I've got the Samsung Galaxy Amp Prime. Then I have the Samsung Galaxy Soul. Then I have the Samsung Galaxy Amp Prime 2. Then I got the Samsung Galaxy Halo. Again, these are all the same phones. ZTE. So I've got I forgot about the Samsung Galaxy Amp 2 up here in a different color. That's the Samsung Galaxy Amp 2, and I got Samsung Galaxy Amp 2 Prime. Whoa, big difference. So I got the ZTE Sonata. Right? Then I got the ZTE Blade X Max. Then I got the ZTE Grand X4. Then we have the ZTE, where is it at? Where did it go? They still have it on here? The ZTE Grand X3. you see, these companies can get away, and all these phones don't cost more than $150. They can get away with this because they've got low cost phones that are, you can sell it to the customers like this. Oh, $29, I got you a brand new smartphone. Oh, snap, I can do social media, and I can do Twitter, Instagram, and it works. It's good enough for the average consumer. That's what they like. That's what people do now. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. I always want to say Snapchat, because I don't use that. I have it, but I don't use it. Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. What's another social media that people use? I don't know. I only do Twitter, Instagram, and Google Plus for like posting social media. I don't do a lot of it, so I just do the basic because I can't keep up with all that stuff. But I know there's Twitter, Google Plus, Instagram, Snapchat. Those are the only ones I can think of. There's another one that people just love so much that I don't use. It's called WhatsApp. I guess that's a social media platform that people use. But there's a lot of people in the world that they don't need a big fancy smartphone, and they're the ones that's actually winning. The ones that are not spending $700 every 3 months like some of us. We are spending a boatload of money. There is absolutely no getting around it. We are spending a ton of money. The tech community spends so much money on phones. But the funny part is, we complain about it. And I say I complain about pricing all the time. I mean, I'm spending a lot of money on this stuff, and I'm not getting the return. So, and when I return, I mean, like, I'm doing the YouTube videos, but sometimes I get a phone that's like $900 or something like that, and it's gonna be a long time before it's paid for as far as YouTube money. That's a if you're on YouTube, and I don't use affiliate links from like Amazon and stuff like that. I could, but to me, I entered into retirement for a reason. I don't want to go back into a really high tax bracket. And now, granted, I was well over 100,000 when I was in the corporate world. And with YouTube, not even near that. Even with an affiliate link, I won't even probably won't even make it to a third of that probably. But I don't even want to enter into a high tax bracket at all. So that's why I don't have affiliate links, because I'm not doing it for the money. If I do buy something with the YouTube money, I give it back to the channel. Like, I'll buy a high price phone and do tons of videos on it. But I do a lot of videos on all the devices that I have pretty much anyway. So, but these OEMs can do this to us. They can do it to us. And, someone said it earlier, and I totally agree. What are we going to do about it? Absolutely nothing. There's absolutely nothing we can do. Absolutely nothing. We can't stop them because we keep buying. I'm doing my podcast and I'm adding music. Let me play this song, see if you guys can hear this. I love this song. See if it plays. Oh, you guys will probably hear it even though I can't hear it. I don't have my headphones plugged in, but you guys can hear that. By Andrew Apple Pie. I love that. I'll stop it. I'm pretty sure you guys can hear it. I know you guys could hear that. But man, I'm telling you, wow, OEMs are going to continue to. I want to say they're screwing us over, but technically we're allowing them to because we keep buying all the products. But if there's any YouTubers that are watching and listening, because this will be on my YouTube channel, I'm coming up on an hour here. And thank you guys for, convincing me to go pro with Spreaker. I told you guys I would. I was going to do it anyway. But, I know you guys wanted longer podcasts, and so I'm coming up on an hour now. And I've got, you wouldn't believe, let me count the boxes I have in front of me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So many reviews to do. I have to pace myself, because I don't turn away OEMs for headphones. You guys know that I'm a headphone connoisseur. Right now, my Gig Audio is my favorite Bluetooth headphones. That could change at any time. I don't know. But if there's any YouTubers out there who are listening, someone asked me earlier, I think Brad asked me, what would be my device? Or Chris asked me, what would be my device? What would be your device if you didn't do YouTube? I know there's plenty of YouTubers out there who listen to me, and I would love to know if you guys weren't doing YouTube, as people who do YouTube, what would you be using for your main device? I think for me, it really would be an Apple iPhone because I love Macs. I have Windows PCs as well, but I just, very seldom do I turn on my Windows PC anymore now that I have a 5K Mac, iMac, and I have a built PC, but it just, I don't know, I just like the 5K iMac. But if you do YouTube, what would be your one, if you weren't doing YouTube and you're a YouTuber, what would be your one device? What would you be doing? Would you have an iPhone, a BlackBerry, an Android? That's an easy one for me. I would have a BlackBerry Key 1 probably if I wasn't still rocking with BlackBerry 10. Or I would probably have an iPhone. Because I would want something that's fluid, fast, and get software updates. Or stay up to date. Because I wouldn't want to buy a phone every year. Totally not. Wouldn't want to do that. So rolling up on an hour here. It's now 7:35 Central Standard Time. It's your man Jay Will. Thank you guys for joining me in Tuesday's live late evening podcast. I'll be doing podcasts at this time of the day because I know a lot of people are off work at this time. And at you guys' request, I want to give you what you want. So I will see you guys in another podcast. I'm going to fire up. I'm going to take a break here again. I just came from the gym and I wanted to relax and do the podcast. So I showered up after I got from the gym and sat down and turned on the mic. So you guys are awesome. I probably will do Wednesday workday tomorrow. I'm trying to get myself into a rhythm to bring you guys news and rumors and everything smartphone conversation. That's smartphoneconversations.com. Anything smartphones, I love to talk about it. And I love to hear from you. So special thank you to everyone who's able to catch me live on podcasts. Totally appreciate your support. And I can't thank you enough. Without you guys listening, there's no Jay Will. Without you guys following me on YouTube, there's absolutely no Jay Will. There is one, but it'll be like products that are great and no one knows about them. Just tooting my horn a little bit. Yeah, I think I did. In all seriousness though, without you guys, no channel. So I appreciate it. I could go on, but I've got a lot of stuff to do. And thank you so much for allowing me to entertain you for a little bit. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. If I do a Wednesday workday podcast tomorrow, just be on the lookout for Twitter. My social media is Mr. J.L. Williams everywhere. So if you want to find me on social media, it's an easy one. Mr. J.L. Williams. I'll see you guys in the next podcast. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, thank you for supporting. Shout out to Brad and Chris and Dose of Common Sense. You guys join in. Shout out to Jeffrey for listening in. And anyone who's not commenting, I know there's a ton of people who just listen. And that's what the podcasts are for people who are working or, because there's people that work the late night shift and they might want to do, they might want to tune in and listen to you, man, Jay Will, because I like to listen to podcasts too. So I appreciate you guys who just listen, and you don't have to talk. It's fine. Just listen to me talk. That's what I'm here for. I will see you guys in the next podcast. I will let you know, like I said, if I do a Wednesday work day. Thursday, I definitely will not be available for podcasts or probably YouTube at all. I don't know. We'll see. But I appreciate you guys, man. I'm signing off. Appreciate it. Be sure to share this podcast if you can. If you can't, I understand. It is posted on my Twitter and my Google Plus and everywhere on YouTube. So, Mr. J.L. Williams for my social media, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.